Today we're speedrunning 9 different SpongeBob Flash games. Some of these are very strange. Starting with Bikini Bottom Busta. And this is basically the SpongeBob fighting game. First of all, we have to fight Patrick. We're going to dodge one of his attacks and then hit him 3 times because he is going to be our easiest opponent, so we can get in a lot of attacks. He can also use his special attacks, which we can dodge out of the way for, and with only one more attack, we can finish him off. He does block a couple of them, but there we go. That's round 1. Also, you gotta love the little SpongeBob references in this game, like the Kevin's ointment over there. But anyways, on to number 2. We're gonna dodge some more attacks, and we're also trying to fill up our special bar that you'll see on the star by our picture. We can get a couple more attacks, use our Gary throw, and then do one last attack to take Patrick out. So that's a pretty good first fight. But now on to the next match. We have Sandy. She's gonna be the yellow belt, and we're gonna dodge an attack and only do one attack afterwards. And the big reason behind that is she is much better than Patrick, so she's much more likely to actually hit us before we're able to get our kickoff. And by the way, you can also punch in this game, but kicking is always going to be the best thing to do because it just does a ton of damage. And there's going to be Sandy round 1. Now on to round 2. We have a pretty good amount of our special bar up. We can hit her a couple of times. She's going to use her special attack. I'll try to dodge out of the way, and the dodges also will fill up our special bar as well, so that is nice. But now she's just spamming this attack. I don't know how she's getting so much special herself, but we'll use Gary one more time, hit her with a kick, and that's going to be our second opponent. Now to finish out this game, we have Squidward. This guy is the blue belt, and you can see that he's kind of insane. Just look at the face that he makes when he's trying to hit us. You can tell he's got some pent-up frustration on SpongeBob. That's probably why he agreed to this, and he probably trained very hard just so he could beat us, but unfortunately for him, we are much better than him. So with one more kick, that should take him out the first time, and we tie up all his tentacles. Yeah, he's not happy. And then on to round 2. We'll see he's just gonna do his attack, and much like Sandy, we're only gonna go for one attack at a time. Now we do have our special at this point, but we're not gonna use it right away because I do want to save it. I will get hit right there. That way he puts his guard down. We did miss our kick, but we can get one more right there, and that's still gonna finish out time to 37. Now for our second Flash game, we have Clash of Triton, where this guy wants us to release him from his cage, so we're gonna do just that, and then he wreaks havoc on pretty much the entirety of Bikini Bottom. Now King Neptune is gonna tell us that we have to stop him, and we're like, how? But then he gives us the spatula of the gods. We become buff, and yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. And this game is actually really similar to Castle Crashers. I mean, it's not as good, but it's still a pretty fun game, surprisingly. And what we're gonna do, similar to Castle Crashers speedrun, is try to juggle our opponents in the air. And then we'll get these next people. They're trying to take us down, and we have the people that are actually on our side and are dressed up in SpongeBob uniforms, which is hilarious. But like I was saying, we want to juggle these guys in the air because if they fall down with a regular attack, then we have to wait for them to get up before we can attack them again. There are also sometimes going to be coins that drop, and we do want to pick those up because they're going to make us stronger by increasing our level. But either way, I just want to keep doing my jump attacks with these first guys. We only need to hit them like 5 times. We'll see that that guy is gone. Now we get our next group of people. I will keep this guy all the way in this corner. I'm trying to get them to the side of the screen so I don't have to keep moving with them. And we also want them to get bunched up. That way we can hit multiple of them at the same time. But this guy should be the last one of this first group. Then our guy is going to run away. We can continue moving forward and get our first boss. He's like, thanks for letting us out. Let me show my gratitude. And his gratitude is big green balls that are trying to hit us, which isn't the best thing. But all we have to do is hit him 4 times and that takes him out. That's going to be round number 1. We also get a relic, which is going to be the jelly cannon. And then when we come over here, we actually want to do the puzzle. But we don't have to do this because you can just click on Patrick and he'll do it for you, giving us another relic, which this one is really good. That's going to be the Triton of Neptune, and you'll see why it's good in just a second. We're mostly going to use it on bosses though, so for the regular guys, we're not going to worry about them too much. And we do have some new opponents now. I mean, these guys with the hoods, they look kind of scary, I'm not going to lie, but same old strategy as last time. We just want to keep them in the air and then get their coins as soon as they die. But now we get the Sandy boss. Yeah, she is very angry. She's roaring at us, and what we have to do for this boss is dodge her attack 3 times. So I'm going to jump over that first one, jump over the second one, and then finally she'll do one more attack, which I can jump over, and we can hit her once, which is going to do half her attack because we did a dash attack. Now for this next part, I will just keep jumping over these attacks and finally finish her out with our Triton attack because that's also going to do a ton of damage and make Sandy go back to her regular self. And we're like, yeah, I saved you, Sandy. She doesn't even seem thankful. She just liked being big, kind of disrespectful. But we do get our next relic, which will allow us to call more sardines, and we also get 2 hero level ups, which is going to make us stronger. But now onto the Goo Lagoon. And you can see we now have a good amount of relics. so we will be using those to our advantage as we need to. But just to start, we have these people who are wearing and using snail shells. Did they kill like Gary to get those? I don't think we want to look into that much, actually. I mean, are those just ornaments or are they actual snail shells? This could mean some weird things for the SpongeBob universe. But now, since we have our new relic, we're actually going to be able to call our boys over, which will be able to help us. Sometimes they do some damage, is just to distract the other people while I deal with my juggles. But it's Squidward boss time, and this man is terrifying. He is also pretty happy he's about to get his revenge, or at least he thinks he will. But he's going to go ahead, use his tentacle attacks, but then we can hit them, and he just gets tons of pain. There is also no reason to really use any other attacks. Like, using our Trident won't do any more damage. I did try to use it right there, but it got blocked by a bubble. Still, as long as we hit him with something, it's always going to do the same amount of damage. So we're going to have to hit him 4 times. That is going to be number 3, and we just have one more. I tried to dodge out of the way. That was actually perfect. And there we go. We transformed Squidward into a very tiny Squidward. It's actually kind of hilarious how tiny he is. And that's going to be our next relic, which this one is going to be a shield that we're pretty much never going to use, but we do get a hero level up. Now on to Jellyfish Fields. So like usual, we get some new people that we have to deal with. And now that I'm looking at it, also their weapons have eyes on them. So are they literally just other fish that they impaled and are using as weapons? All right, this stuff is getting more and more scary. I don't think that's how the SpongeBob universe is supposed to work, but I guess it is now. After dealing with the first amount of people here, this time we actually get a big guy, and we want to use our different attacks on him that do more damage. Then I'll just try to hit him normally, get a couple more attacks, and this guy has tons of health. But finally, after doing a lot of damage, he's actually going to get taken out. But that's another good reason for why we have our relics. Now, after dealing with a lot of the regular people, we got our next boss, which is going to be Patrick. He forgets that he's a monster at first. Like, we literally have to remind him, and he's like, oh, I am. And then he realizes it's time to fight. So Patrick's design I actually really like. And what we want to do, make sure we don't get hit. Also use a couple of our specials. And yeah, just dodge out of the way of that, because he can actually get you in a stun lock, which hits you multiple times and waste a ton of time if it happens. Hopefully it does it right here. There he goes. Yeah, he gets us twice. At least he didn't get us the 3rd time, which would have been very annoying. But I'm going to keep trying to hit him, get some good damage in. He's almost taken out at this point. I will try to dodge out of the way right there. Patrick, I hate you. This boss is actually one of the hardest in the game. But we can't even see what his response is because it's cut off by the screen. But yeah, we just say anytime, good buddy. I'm not even sure if SpongeBob knew what it was. But that's going to be our next relic, the Storm Hammer. Now back to Bikini Bottom, where at the beginning, SpongeBob is a little confused because he's like, I already chased Triton away. But before we see him, it's some more fighting time. I'm gonna get my boys back. Gotta love their SpongeBob uniforms. Do you think they're embarrassed to wear them, or do you think they think they're like really cool? I think they're cool uniforms, but I mean, you literally are wearing a sponge uniform. I guess they are on the winning side, so they got that going for them. But on to our next boss. It's going to be Mr. Krabs. He's still thinking about us flipping patties, and then we say it's a Krabby Patty, which does that mean we're gonna eat Mr. Krabs? You know, SpongeBob, probably not the best thing to say. But anyways, we're going to use a couple of specials. He has some pretty good attacks, which will knock us to the ground. So I'm trying my best to dodge out of the way of those. Just keep moving around. We just have to get a couple more hits. This man, okay, thankfully he didn't get me in a stun lock. But yeah, pretty difficult fight, all things considered. But we got him back. He calls us a good employee. He's like the only one who is actually thankful, but not thankful enough to give us a bonus. Still, we'll take it. And now we have our very last level to go, Neptune Valley. So in this one, we got some new guys to fight. I'm not really sure what's at the end of their weapons. Are those supposed to be fish, or what are they? Some of them are just carrying whole columns, which is kind of insane. Oh, and this time for this big guy, we can use our new hammer as well, which is going to do a ton of damage. We use our 1 attack first, then our 4 attack, and finish off with the 5 attack, and that's going to do all the damage we need. And finally, we're on to our last boss, which is going to be Triton again. He's going to say he's unstoppable, which he very much thinks he is, and he's going to get this green light around him, and the only way to get rid of this green light, at least that I know, is using our Triton. That's going to get rid of that so we can actually attack him now, and now we just have to follow behind him, try not to get hit by these attacks, and he just needs one more hit, but now he's using those things again. All right, dude, come on. Finally, though, we'll finish him out right there. And yeah, little embarrassing. We can't really see what he's saying. He's saying something's impossible, but he will die, and that'll be time 16-15. Next up, on to Gary's Revenge. And this one is going to be the Angry Birds ripoff, and it's actually a pretty fun game. So what we have to do is take out all these little guys. I don't remember what they're called, but I do remember them from one of the episodes of SpongeBob. But I will attack those guys first of all, then we'll send out one more Gary show to deal with the last people. And Gary is just so happy that he's murdering them. Then on to the third one, we see that one guy is waving a white flag. He doesn't want to fight, but we're going to go for him first. So we're going to get rid of that. Then we're going to use another one of these attacks so we can go straight over to the bomb, and that's going to finish out the rest of them. Now to our fourth level, all of these people are very well protected, but they forgot that they're right by bombs. Not sure why they put themselves right by bombs. Yeah, maybe they're not the greatest at defense, but they are trying. You got to give them that. Now for this next one, we see that there are a couple of bombs that we do want to hit. So I'm going to send that guy at that angle and actually get that perfectly. But now we want to wait a second because there's still going to be one of these guys we need to wait to die, and then we can go back to Gary. Then onto this level, we get these really cool shell attacks, which actually whirl around all of those metal things, just completely destroying everybody. Please die. Thank you very much. And that'll be that one. There's some really cool abilities in this game. I mean, a lot of them were just completely stolen from Angry Birds, but they're still cool. Now onto this next one, we want to deal with that first tower of wood, and then we want to go for these guys in the ice. I can just get rid of that, and that was a perfect shot. I'm very surprised. Now for these guys, we see that there is going to be a bomb that we do want to set off. So we'll send the green person over, use his attack. That's going to cause all of those things to get destroyed. That last guy will hit the ground, and that'll be that one. A very great run so far, but there's a single level that can go extremely badly. But for this one, I'm actually always going to do the same thing of sending our Gary up all the way. That way he can move around this stuff and hopefully hit a bomb, please. Unfortunately, just missed it, but we got Gary number 2. And that also, come on, game. Oh, it actually happened while I was off screen. We heard all the explosions. So I guess I just had to wait a second longer, but yeah, that's gonna be that level. Kind of funny. And now this is one of the hardest levels. It's just so annoying. I guess it's not hard. It's just incredibly luck based whether you get it or not. So what I want to do is get rid of the regular Garys. Then we can go hit that, and we have to hope that all of these guys die. They did like no testing in this level, and a lot of times it just doesn't work out, but we got very lucky right there. So now we're on to the next level, and for this one, we want to get rid of the first Gary. Try to aim this one perfectly. That way we can explode it and deal with all of those guys nice and easy. Which leads us to the very last level of the game, and for this one, I want to always have maximum power all the way at the bottom. That's going to give us the perfect angle. Then it can hit that wood out of the way. Gary's shell will come down. It'll hit the explosion, and you can see that those two balls will then go over to their explosions. Get rid of those guys, and that is going to be our final level. So as soon as we get rid of all of this stuff, we can call off time, and there we go, 407. So on to Bikini Bottom chess, and this game is actually a pretty fun speed run because you pretty much always want to do the same strategies. We're trying to go for the perfect checkmate, which you can see we actually got because Patrick is not the greatest chess player. So that's going to be the first one right there. But each time we face a different opponent, they are going to get harder. So we're going to have to use a different strategy. Like for this one, we actually moved our pawn up 2 instead of 1. And that's going to set us up in the right spot. And then we can use the same strategy. I guess it was only a little bit different, but it still has the same idea. Now for this next one, we'll move this first guy up 2. He's going to start by moving his knights out. So I'm going to get Squidward up there. And we're not going to send her all the way to the side like we did before. That way, that knight will go for that pawn instead of going for her. So then we can send her up and get the checkmate again. Yeah, it's pretty much just about manipulating the AI to do exactly what we want. And we also are getting very lucky because a lot of the time you don't get to go first in this game. So we have to hope we do because otherwise we just can't do these strategies. So that's going to be number 4 done. Another checkmate. And on to our final battle against Plankton. We will send that guy up 2. We can send Squidward out. They're going to send Karen. We're going to want to come over here. That way, Karen goes to that spot because Plankton, he's a little bit smarter than everybody else, but not smart enough to not go for our rook. So that puts us in the perfect position to get our regular checkmate that we have gotten many times before. We can finally send her up right there, which is going to be the checkmate and going to be our next time 140. Now we have one of the hardest speedruns of this video, Dutchmans Dash. So with this one, you'll see that we're pretty fast as SpongeBob, and we can also get this ability, which which is going to go on our head. Now that gives us an extra point of damage, so we won't just die if we get hit by something. But the thing about this game is it is super easy to get hit by things, and it is super easy to die. Now this is just the first level, so it's not the worst in the world. I've played it way more than all the rest of them, just going through speedruns. But yeah, I want to keep my path the same. We do get hit by that guy, but we can get another hat, which is going to be nice. And we want to stay as SpongeBob as much as possible, at least for a lot of these levels, because he is going to be a little bit faster than Patrick, but Patrick is going to have better jumps. Still, that's going to be the first level. We can go into the second one, and I want to be careful. I'm actually going to use my attacks right here. We're going to take the jellyfish though, and that's going to be a pretty good attack because we can throw jellyfish out of us instead of just turning into like a spiky ball like we did before with the purple one. I also want to make sure I take these hooks, and we almost missed that because momentum in this game is really weird, so it's very easy to not get the momentum you want. Still though, we can come over here. We just want to go past these guys. I'm getting some pretty good momentum right here, and I just want to keep it up, at least for the most part. But now we get one of the worst parts of the speedrun, which is this ketchup that just falls from the sky. Now you have no way of knowing where it's coming from, and sometimes it can just kill you. But thankfully we have our next life with Patrick, so we can still finish out the level with him, which is just all the way over to here with Squidward. So yeah, thankfully we have both of them in situations like that. But for this next level, I'm actually going to die with Patrick right away. That way we can switch back to SpongeBob and be a bit faster. Now this level, it's going to increase in difficulty a lot, so we're going to play a bit more careful, using our abilities and just being smart around these people. We can skip that jellyfish. I would rather have this power up right now just because it's pretty great to protect yourself with in a lot of situations, because you can just expand and not really have to worry about anybody attacking you. But we're just running through at this point. On these guys, I want to kill a good amount of them, and then there's that ball that almost hit us. We can't use our spiky attack to get rid of that, so that is always scary. And now one of the scariest parts of this level, where we die, of course, but this is very hard because there's stuff falling from the sky that can hit you into the water like it almost did, but we just were able to dodge it. That is absolutely insane. Oh my gosh. Okay, so on to this next level. We want to go ahead, take this hook, but then of course I'm going to die with Patrick again. And the reason I took the hook right there was now with SpongeBob, we're not going to take it, and instead we can just get this jellyfish. Protection a lot of the times is very important, even more than speed, just because it's so easy to die in this game. So I'm going to be careful with this guy, make sure we can go under him. The momentum, like I said, is weird, so I don't want to go for any risky jumps, especially on this level, because things can go so badly, as you can see with that. But that is going to be our Squidward checkpoint, so we're just going through. I kind of want that power up. It's in a very awkward position though, but I'm going to go for it. Thank you, SpongeBob. And we can wait for it to come up to us. Okay, this level is so stressful, especially now because we have more ketchup falling from the sky. Again, we have no idea where it's going to come from, so you just have to hope that things don't go terribly. And there's also going to be these balls that are now shooting at us, so there goes that hat. But we still have Patrick, and we're going to need him right here. So at least we have those invincibility frames to deal with that ball. Then we can jump over that one. We're almost at the end of this level, so I just have to be careful, not die right here, because then we would go all the way back to Squidward. But we can take this jellyfish hat, and there we go. Okay, so now we have a boss fight, which is going to be against King Dutchman, and we also have Gary, who is slowly going to the bottom of the screen. But the nice thing is with that jellyfish attack, you can just keep attacking him with jellyfish. Unfortunately, we did lose it because of one of his very dumb attacks, but we can keep jumping on his head, and after a few times, that's going to be the boss fight. And now we get Gary, who we're going to hold by the eyes. I don't know why we hold Gary by the literal eyes. It seems pretty cruel to me, but you know, it happens. And now we're going to try to go with Patrick. Now, it might be a good idea to just use SpongeBob here. That way we can have the extra life. But you know what? We're going to go with Patrick and just hope things can work out. I can go through there. And one important thing is you can also see that Dutchman is literally following after us. And if he gets to us, then he will kill us. But yeah. Okay, so we will have to start back from the beginning of this level, but that's fine because this speedrun's so hard. And at very least, a lot of the enemies enemies are now going to be gone, so we can just go through. Kind of inevitable to happen in this speedrun. Even the world record has some deaths in their speedrun. But yeah, this time I'm going to jump up, use my jellyfish attack, come through here, try to dodge these guys. It's so much harder on the way back than it is going forward, because these levels were definitely made to go forward, at least for going fast sake. But we did get Squidward right there, which means that is going to be a refresh point if we do need it. Hopefully I will not. I'm trying to make it through here. Dutchman is literally chasing after me, which is terrifying. We will get a death right there, but we still have Patrick. And all right, Patrick, just make me proud. Go through there. We don't want to take that hook. Oh, come on. All right, back to Squidward. That is fine. A lot of these people are now gone. But like I was saying, we don't want to take that hook because it's actually a trap. It would murder us by that jellyfish guy. So that is a little terrifying. We do fall down there, but Patrick should be able to finish it out. Please move out of my way, dude. Okay. Oh, that would have been a reset if we didn't get it right there. So, yeah, that was scary. But that's probably the hardest level done. So now we just have to make it through the rest, which I should be able to do a bit better. We'll start off with Patrick just going through. Hopefully no ketchup falling from the sky. That's always one of the scariest things. But Patrick is doing pretty good so far. I do really enjoy his extra high jump. And, okay, that works out. A little scary. But his extra high jump is very good. What? This game isn't very well made. Still, only a little time loss. We can now get Squidward a little bit better. Now, we will die there, have to come to Patrick, but that is fine. Patrick just finished it out for us. Yeah, you do not know how many times I have reset the speedrun on this game. Even with a few deaths, we're still doing very well, and we make it to Squidward for this next level. Now, on to this one. We still have just Patrick just swinging around Gary, by the way. I haven't mentioned that, but they do not care about Gary at all. Literally, he's probably in so much pain right now, and they're like, yeah, this is definitely the best way to carry you. It is what it is. I'm trying to go fast, so I'm not worried about it. And there is going to be the Squidward checkpoint. We are way ahead of Dutchman at this point, which I do appreciate. We can grab that. Please move out of my way. And I'm just going to try to keep this as Patrick. We don't want to go back to Squidward. Thankfully, there is going to be a power-up right there. And come on, Patrick, you got that. Just expand. Please move out of my way. Dutchman is now throwing stuff at us, so I can't even take the power up. We don't have time, but oh my gosh. All right, one more level, and for this one, you know what? I don't think we should go with Patrick. We should start at SpongeBob just so we have that extra bit of leeway. And now he's also throwing those gigantic green balls at us. So there goes our leeway. How did they think kids could do this? I don't know how much testing the Nickelodeon Flash game team did on their games, but clearly not enough. Like, come on, what is that? All right, Patrick, you may not be the hero we deserve, but you are the hero we need. At the very least, please make it over to Squidward. You got this. There are gigantic green things coming after you, but there we go. That's Squidward, and we're going to try to go all the way with my boy. We can take a power-up, which we use literally immediately. There's something chasing after us. Oh my gosh. This is the most action-packed game of my life. Just so much going on. But even with all that, SpongeBob gets us pretty far, and Patrick should be able to finish out this last little tiny bit. We can make it through him. A little bit dangerous that I did with that. Please get away with me. And we make it to the end. Oh my gosh, that is time 10:30. Next up, onto Tasty Pastry Party. And this game is creepy, as you can see. Now, the idea behind this game is we want to get Patrick the food that he wants. So we got to get him something shocking, slimy, and slimy. And then once we get all three, he's going to be really happy and get us on to the next level. And you can also see that his face is a little scary. I don't know what Nickelodeon was thinking with this game, but it is it's definitely a game. Anyways, on to round, smelly, and smelly. We can go for the round thing first. The underwear is going to be smelly, and then also the feet jar is going to be smelly. SpongeBob, why do you have this? Why are these at your house? Can we question these? For the speedrun, we basically just have to get past level 5. So on to this one, we'll get a few things. I really can't believe, though, that this is actually an official Nickelodeon game, because it is. At least that's what Flashpoint has been saying, so I'm gonna take it, and yeah, that's gonna be the last one. There we go. Patrick eats it, and that'll be our time 106. What a weird game. Now on to SpongeBob's next big adventure. In this game, there are tons of quests that we have to complete, and the first one, we're just trying to go outside. So we go over to our door, but then we realize that Gary is probably hungry, and we haven't fed him yet. So SpongeBob, being the good pet owner he is, goes to try to find his food, but then when we go to get it, it it just disappears. So now we have to go outside where there's going to be a plankton battle. Yeah, plankton wants to fight us over the food for some reason, but the weird thing is you don't actually have to fight this battle. We can just completely skip it. So that's kind of funny. Anyways, this will finish off our first quest where we're just happy with Gary. He can actually eat his food. Now, SpongeBob is going to dance for a while, but finally after doing that, he can go out his door and we can see Squidward. We need to talk to him. He's basically like, hey, don't talk to me. And then we go over to Gary, who gives us a map, and now we can go to Krusty Krab. And we can see that Sandy Cheeks is just out here, really weird looking with her hand behind her tail, but she wants to go and get us a fishbowl, so we got to go back home. And that's because Patrick is just wearing the fishbowl on his head. It doesn't really fit, but he tells us to go over to Jellyfish Fields, and that's so we can get some of this jellyfish goo, so that way we can take it back to him, and he's able to get the fishbowl off of his head. That's going to unlock Sandy's tree dome, and we're also going to see an ad for Glove World. So we got to go over to Sandy, and she's like, hey, I need some help to find my letter. So we got our first little mini game we get to do, but we don't really do this mini game because we're just going to get a single letter and then we're going to die because, you know, I'm not trying to get a good score, and at least we got one, but that will be enough to go and actually get the letter. We can give it to Sandy, and she's going to tell us that it's tickets to Glove Universe. So she invites us to go there. We go off to the front. We got to give them our tickets, and then we have to play one of the mini games here. Now for this one, we're trying to pop these balloons, but I guess we're not actually trying because you don't need to hit any of them. You just have to play the mini game. And yeah, Sandy, I mean, we had a fun time, right? But that's all I'm going to do with you. I'm not even going to talk to you while we're here because we're going back to the Krusty Krab. Now we're going to talk to Mr. Krabs, and he's like, hey, you got to go fix our kitchen. So we got to come over here and find all the pipes that are missing. I don't know how all these pipes got on the ground, but our first three will be over there. Then we got to move over the screen. There's going to be one under that thing, another one that's going to be up there by the plates. Next one is going to be in that barrel. There'll be one behind the ketchup, and finally one up here, which you actually got blocked off by my timer, but still there was one up there, and that's going to fix that in the Krusty Krab. So while SpongeBob is dancing, we're actually going to be teleporting back over here where we're going to see Patrick, and we want to go jellyfishing with him, but he's missing a lot of equipment that we have to get him before he can actually go jellyfishing. First thing will be over here by the chum bucket, which we can take. Then we want to come over to our homes, talk to Squidward, and he says he'll give us some glasses if we go and do his shift at the Krusty Krab. We can also pick up this net before we go over there. So time to do our cashier shift. And for this one, we basically just have to do math problems while Mr. Krabs just stares at us. He is making sure that we don't get a single thing incorrect because he's probably going to murder us if we do. You can see him also smiling in the background, happy he's making so much money. But yeah, I don't know why he's watching us do our job so intently. Don't you have anything else that's better to do, Eugene? But finally, we'll finish off this last one with a 13, and we got a well done, which that's going to make us a good amount of money, which we're going to use in the future. And by the future, I mean right here, because we have to pay Mr. Krabs $10 to buy a jar from him after doing our job. Yeah, he is not the greatest guy in the world, but either way, we did also do our job for Squidward, so that's going to give us everything we need to give to Patrick. So now we can go jellyfishing if we want. I'm not going to want to do that right now though, but we will reset this screen and go over to this guy. He's going to tell us that there's a sleigh race we can do over in the frozen tundra, and we'll head over there. Then we can talk to him, and he's like, hey, your friends are missing in here. You got to go help them. But you think I have time to help my friends? I'm trying to speedrun. So we're just going to cancel out of the minigame, which is yet again hilarious. My friends might be dead, but hey, at least I'm doing well, I guess. And now it's time for the worst part of the speedrun. Heading to the chum bucket, talking to Karen, and she tells us that basically she's going to tell us a secret if we beat her in Pong 3 different times. We get our first one right there. It tells us well done. And then she goes, hey, beat me 2 more times and I'll tell you a secret. Come on, Karen. Don't you have a husband you can play this with? Why me? But all right, finally, we get it done. Honestly, worst part of this entire speedrun. She's basically going to tell us, though, that Plankton is in the town, and now we get to fight him. By the way, he's really tall for some reason. But anyways, we're not actually going to fight him. We're just going to reset, and there we go. That'll be time. Because, yeah, you can see by just getting rid of it, he thinks we won. This game, not the best made. But that's time, 10:38. Now we're on to 3D Power Kart Grand Prix. And you already know we're picking our boy, Mr. Krabs. Now for this speedrun, we're basically playing Mario Kart, just a much worse version of Mario Kart. But we got an actually amazing start with those blue balls, because the blue ones are always going to be a speed up. So we can use that in very nice ways. We'll go around that a second time, use our blue, get another blue, which is nice. And this is going to be the first track, so by far it will also be the easiest. So yeah, finish it pretty quickly. Now on to track number 2. You can see that it's starting to get a little bit bigger. Also, every time that Mr. Krabs starts one of his races, he goes smelly. I don't know what he's calling so smelly. It's kind of rude, I'm not gonna lie. Who are you saying that to, Mr. Krabs? But still, we want to get a pretty good advantage in front of all the other people. You can see on the mini map, we're way ahead of them at this point. I mean, we are getting those speed boosts, which do help, but now we're on to the final lap. The green stuff, really not useful for what we need, because all it does is it just puts something behind us, like a banana in Mario Kart. And when you get the red ones, you throw a jellyfish at somebody. So for our purposes, for speedrunning, it doesn't really matter. So all we want are those blue ones, but on to the next one. We don't start out with it right away. Also, Mr. Krabs, please stop calling me smelly. It's really starting to hurt my feelings. But yeah, a little bit of a bigger track, more turns we have to do. We also will get a blue one right there. We kind of have to slow down because these turns are starting to get insane, but we can use our boost there. That's going to be the first lap, get some more blues, which I like to see, and also a shield. The shield is not the worst thing to get, because if somehow one of the other people get like a miraculous snipe, then at least we'll have something protecting us. But I do like 2 blues right there. We see another blue in our future, which means we're going to get the legendary 3 blue bonus, which gives us so much speed. We are just going across this entire track. And then we get 2 more blues after that bit, but our boost is still happening. That's how much speed we got right there. And there's another finish. So finally, onto the last track of this speedrun. I know this game has been exhilarating. You're probably wishing it wouldn't end, but this track is absolutely gigantic. You know, I kind of wish that they went and put some more time into actually making these tracks like a different environment or something, instead of just making them longer. Because even though this game is very clearly just a ripoff of Mario Kart, I mean, it's still pretty fun. Like, it's not the worst ripoff of Mario Kart I've ever played. But yeah, just a very long track that we have to go across 3 different times. And we'll skip to the end because I think we've seen enough of this game. But that will be the time, 4:33. Easy win, let's go. And look at these other people's faces. They are terrifying. Patrick, are you okay? And now onto our final game of the video, live from Bikini Bottom 2. So this game, it starts out with just a lot of guys just chilling. We're gonna get rid of SpongeBob right away. That way we can give the clarinet to Squidward without any distractions. He's going to play a very beautiful song and then get attacked, which is going to give us our first achievement. Now, basically, our speedrun for this game is we're going to be trying to get all achievements in it. So we just have to go one by one, getting those. We can play this whistle, which just makes Squidward fall down and then do the handsome Squidward face. Gotta love that. But finally, we'll get the bus pass and we can get commuter. So now all the boys get to go on a trip together. Squidward is not the most happy about it, but that's going to take us to the next place on our map. This is going to be Rock Bottom, and right away we will get the glove hat, which we can give to SpongeBob and get him stylish. Now the bus is going to go away from us, but we just wait here for a second until a balloon comes down. We can give that to SpongeBob, and now everybody's going to jump up together, even Squidward. He's along for the ride. And that'll take us up to this island, which is a pretty nice place, and the achievement Balloon Land. Now we want to take a couple of these coconuts and hit our people on the head with them. Sandy was very upset about that one, but I can finish out with SpongeBob. That'll give us headaches. Now we're going to throw everybody off this island except for Patrick. Now they're going to keep coming back and being like, hey, we want to be on this island. We don't want to be down here, but I'm not going to let them, even if their faces are very terrified. And that's because as soon as we get this bike, we want to give it to Patrick so he will fall down and we can get belly flop and then go over to the Flying Dutchman's ship, which this is a nice place where we'll get ahoy mateys. Then we can take our bike out of our box again, give that over to Sandy so she can hang 10. And now we're trying to move this ship. We're going to keep moving that over, and then we'll also get the achievement Tilt Terrific by pressing the arrow keys on our keyboard while this is happening. Then we can also just take a look at handsome Squidward while we're waiting, because might as well, before we pull that down and we all go into this toilet. This game is so weird, man. But now we're going over to the sewers. We get toilet plunge, and we want to wait here for a second until we can give this bone over to SpongeBob. That's going to cause these guys to come out of the sea and start attacking attacking us. So we have to take them out of our heads and get done with all that stuff so our guys aren't scared anymore. Now we can put one of our people into the sea and then spawn this guy by moving that over. They're gonna get eaten, so unlucky for SpongeBob. And yeah, that'll be our next place where we're going into this guy's stomach, and it's gonna be our last location. But there's still a lot of achievements we gotta get. That will give us lunchtime though. We wait, we see a mop. I'm not mopping up someone's stomach. What are you talking about? But we kind of just have to wait here for a second until our next thing will show up, which finally, there we go. We could use our anchor arms. But unfortunately for SpongeBob, he forgot that it doesn't actually make him stronger. So, I mean, he tries. He seems very disappointed, but we get Muscle Bob buff pants. Then we'll continue waiting a little longer until we also get some money. So we're gonna give that to SpongeBob, and then Mr. Krabs is just gonna take it. What the heck? But that's gonna be cash money. So we're just gonna head back to the bus because now that everything's unlocked on the map, we don't have to worry about that. Now we're gonna turn off this light in the house first of all. Then after waiting for a bit, we'll get this egg, and we can put this on SpongeBob's head 3 different times. So that's gonna be number 1. He really doesn't like this egg. But with our 3rd time, it's actually gonna crack open, and now SpongeBob's a mommy, apparently. Then also after a while, we'll hear a horn, and then the lights are gonna turn off. Everybody is completely scared, but we can use a flashlight and get some more light. SpongeBob can also play with it and have a fun time. And then as soon as the bus comes back, we want to use our ticket again, and as soon as they exit, we will get return trip, and now we're heading to the island. And now this time, instead of getting rid of everybody except for Patrick, we'll get rid of everybody except for SpongeBob. Then as soon as we get this acorn, SpongeBob's like, hey, this will make a pretty good present. So we'll make that, then we'll head over to the ship. While we're on the ship, first of all, we can give this present over to Sandy. She'll unwrap it and get gift wrapped box. She did not seem happy about that. Why'd you say one in tarnation? It's a nice gift. So I'm gonna punish her by using this electric cloud. And yeah, this thing actually like murders these people. I mean, it doesn't murder them, but you see their skeletons, so that's kind of terrifying. Anyways, we were just waiting until we could get this feather, then we can go back to the map. We'll head into this guy's stomach. We'll use the feather with SpongeBob. He'll start tickling the guy, and eventually we'll get the sewer snaker achievement, which causes us to get sneezed out. Puts us all the way back up at this island, but that is not where we're gonna finish out because we're going to the sewers. Now we'll be getting rid of everybody except for Patrick again, where eventually he'll get this gumball and he's going to eat it. It looked a little bit nasty, but he's gonna explode it right in his face, and we get the achievement Proud Owner, along with the last achievement Super Explorer, and that's gonna be time 8:24. All right, subscribe if you enjoyed. Bye.